So most people on earth cannot afford stuff that they want. Some people on earth have stuff that they can't afford. A few people, and I mean really few people, can afford stuff and they actually go ahead and buy it. Now you most probably want to be amongst the last group. The kind of people who want something, for example, you want a particular car, you want a house. All of us usually want something in this world, and you can actually afford it. You can go and buy it and actually have it personally, and it won't stress you. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you and teaching you how to actually be able to get stuff that you want, how you can afford stuff that you want and go outside there and get it anytime that you do want. So stick around right through to the very end. But before we get there, I'm going to be talking about the three groups. I'm going to briefly explain the three groups and share with you their characteristics so that you certainly understand where exactly you are. First is the first group. Most people actually do want stuff and they can't afford it. They genuinely want something, but it doesn't matter how hard they work, it doesn't matter, how much they do, they honestly can't afford it. I do remember personally when I was young, anyway, this is where most people are. I mean, at least, 70% of people lie in this group. 70% or more lie in the first group, They want stuff, but they can't afford it, They will lie in that group. Now, I remember when we were young, I grew up in this group. I mean, my mother, I remember, she always wanted to get us nice stuff. She always wanted to get us nice clothes. She always wanted to buy and, have a nice car. I remember there's a time she told me that, she was doing driving lessons. She wanted to, have a beautiful house. We grew up in a mud and, reeds house in the city, but in a house built from mud and reeds. I mean, it was, I would say, proper suffering. And she wanted to have the really nice things, but she never got to have them. I believed in her. Every time she told me that, hey, Daniel, I want us someday to have a beautiful, nice car. I was hoping that someday it happened, but well, she went to be with the Lord without it ever happening. Now, it's not only her story, it's the story of the biggest percentage of people on earth. They will want something and they will never ever get to own it. Now, the second group is actually the group of people who have stuff that they can't afford. Now, quite a big percentage of people lies here, Now, again, these numbers are estimates in my head. I mean, this should be at least, 20-something percent, Maybe 25% or more, They lie here. They can't afford stuff, but they have stuff they can't afford. They have that very beautiful car, that really expensive car, but they can't afford the fuel in the car. So they do have the car, they probably drive it maybe once a week or once a month or stuff like that. And for most of the time, it's parked at home, They bought it because they thought it's a tool or something that can bring them pride, but they can't afford it. They have that really nice house, They probably saved up all the money that they had at work, probably went and borrowed, and they got that really nice house, but they can't afford it. They can't maintain the house, they can't maintain the bills, So bills are a problem for such people. It's quite crazy that you can have a really big house, but you can't afford the bills, So you'll find that the house is dirty. They are literally struggling and suffering, but they have the really cool stuff. If someone sees them from the outside, they have really cool stuff. Now, how do most people manage to get to this? Through debt. A big percentage. Now, when I speak of 25%, I'm talking of global numbers. But when you do go to some countries, you'll notice that these numbers are even higher than this. Maybe in some countries, it's like 60% of the country. Maybe in the US, for example, Places where debt is a big thing. In my country where I am, like in Uganda, debt is not like a very big thing. I mean, people don't have credit cards. You'll find very few people with cards. So people who usually have things over here can genuinely afford them. And people who don't have them genuinely can't afford them. Now, you'll find very few people in this group. But in the Western world, and a lot of people in the Western world, they're living in here. They have stuff that they can't afford. They're literally living in debt. Every day is a struggle. And if you're that kind of person, you certainly don't enjoy it. Now, you want to be amongst the last group. This is less than 5% of people on earth. These are the kinds of people who want something and they go get it. So they want something, they go get it without struggling, without suffering. They can afford anything that they do want. This is where you want to lie. You want to be able to get, that really nice car that consumes maybe, I don't know, 5 liters per kilometer, and go drive it, and you can drive it every day, and you won't be struggling, you know, you won't be suffering. You want to have that really cool, nice house, and you can maintain it. You can pay the electricity bills, you can pay each and everything. You want to be able to travel to any part of the world, go and enjoy it without thinking about the bill of where you're going to be sleeping or the food that you're going to be eating. I mean, you're just enjoying the moment, yeah? And this is why you want to lie. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to actually get to this point. Now, the first step to you getting here is identify what you want. Okay? Identify what you want. You need to know exactly what you want. I mean, people want different things in this world. For me, for example, I love cars. Yeah, I'm being quite honest. I mean, I love cars. I enjoy cars. I've already owned quite a number of cars, and I think I still do want to own a few more. Yeah. When I was growing up, I loved gadgets. Like, for example, I loved phones. I loved having, you know, cool, nice phones. I love to travel. I haven't traveled so much because, you know, I'm concentrating on work and all those kinds of things, but I love to travel. So I'm hoping that in the very near future, it's something that I'm going to concentrate on. I love tools. For example, I love to work with my hands and stuff like that. And I love working with tools. So if I can afford a tool, and I think, you know, it's something that I'm going to enjoy working with, probably it's building, maybe cleaning or stuff like that, I'll buy the tool and I'll actually utilize it. So those are things that I love. For you, for example, it might be quite different. You might love houses. You might love to have a very, very beautiful, nice house. Yeah. Maybe you want to have a country home, a house somewhere deep in the woods, and that's what you would love. You need to first identify what you want, because when you identify what you want, then you can draw a path there. Now, there are a few things to note. Yeah. First is that what you want will change. That's the first thing. It will change. What you love and what you think you love doing will change with time. I've told you guys that earlier on I loved, you know, gadgets and tech and stuff like that. Right now they don't blow me away anymore, because I mean, I owned the most expensive phones that I thought money could buy. I owned, you know, expensive computers and all that kind of stuff, and I noticed, well, they're just computers, they're just phones. There's nothing that can be added to them. So that's the first thing. You need to understand that what you love will change and your desire for them will disappear. Yeah, like I've already told you guys, I probably have some other cars that I still do want to own, but I can tell you that I know that when I own a particular car, I'm not going to want any other car, because then I'll feel like I've owned the epitome of what a car could be. So it's important for you to understand that, number one, your desires will change, but also your desires will be satisfied. The second thing you need to understand is that it is relationships. Yeah? It's relationships that do satisfy. I mean, owning stuff, owning, you know, cars, houses, planes, and all that stuff, it doesn't satisfy. Yeah, I've personally experienced it. I've talked with a lot of, I would say, wealthy people. I've had stories from a lot of wealthy people, and they'll tell you this stuff doesn't satisfy. I mean, they are great tools that can be utilized to change the world and do a lot of stuff around the world, but they won't satisfy. So it's relationships that are going to satisfy. Relationships with God, yeah? So if you have a personal relationship with God, relationships with family, you know, your wife, your husband, your partner, your daughter, you know, your son, your grandparents. Those are the relationships that are going to satisfy. Yeah, relationships with friends. In the long run, these are the things that are going to make you fulfilled. They're the things that are going to make you happy, and they are the things that you want to focus on. But number three, the thing that we need to understand is that you're going to have to test it out. Yeah, so you want to do all these things, you want to own all these ones that we've talked about. I mean, it's difficult for someone to comprehend that a car won't satisfy them until they get it. Yeah, and I understand this because I've been there. Yeah, a lot of times you feel like, this person is telling me that I don't need money, or that I don't need this car, or that I don't need this thing. It's because they have it. It's because they don't know that I don't have it. So you'll feel like the other person who has experienced it and they're telling you they are experienced is only saying it because they have experienced it. But in all honesty, when you do personally experience it and you've tested it, yeah, once you test it, then you will notice that, well, what they were saying is true. So the only reason I'm making this video is because I want you to test it. Yeah, it's difficult for you to believe and understand particular things until you test them. So you're going to get all the wants, you're going to get all the desires, you're going to test them, and then you're going to notice that they don't matter, and you'll get back to the things that matter. Your relationship with God, your relationship with family, your relationship with friends. Now, after you've identified what you want, the next thing that you want to do is weigh the options. Okay? This is literally considering what is able to get you what you want. For example, if you're the kind of person who has sat down and you've noticed that for you the kind of life you want is to live in the city, yeah, have a modest family, yeah, and maybe have a tech job somewhere, then probably a 9 to 5 would be perfect for you. Yeah, a 9 to 5 p.m. job would be perfect for you because most probably it's going to be in the city. It's okay for you to have a modest normal family, maybe 2 kids, have a wife or a husband, they'll go to school in the morning, you'll be working at, maybe a computer or something company over there, and for you that's what satisfies you. Then probably a 9 to 5 job is going to serve you for the rest of your life. You'll have some savings to live your life off after you've retired, and you don't need to struggle and stress with the rest of your life. But most probably you're not going to be, over there. Now, you might want, for example, to have a country home. Okay? All you want is a country home, and in that country home, the only thing you want to be able to do is maybe own, let's say, 2 acres of land. 2 acres of land in a country home, maybe grow your own food. Those are the things that you're thinking about. Now, most probably you're not going to need too much money for that, because to get a country home, most probably you're going to go further out. Land outside, not so close to the cities, is not going to be so expensive. So you're going to be able to get, land quite cheaply. You're going to be able to grow your own food and all this kind of stuff. You're not going to be eating expensive food. So for you, maybe working a 9 to 5 for quite an amount of time and then saving up, putting some money in investments, maybe in stocks or things like that, might be a great option for you, because again, your lifestyle is not going to desire a lot of expenses. But again, the biggest percentage of you are not going to be here. Can I guess what the biggest percentage of you are going to be? You're going to be amongst the percentage who want to have a very nice car. A luxurious, beautiful car. You want to travel around the world, enjoy life all around the world. You want to, have a very beautiful home. And these are expensive. Okay? You're going to need money. You're going to need a lot of money for you to be able to do this. So, how are you going to get to this point? That's what takes us to our point number 3. Yeah, identify a route. Okay, identify a route there. Now we're talking about a route to earning, crazy amounts of money. 100k, 200, 500k. Yeah, this is a lot of money, and you're not going to just get this through simple, easy stuff. What are the 3 main routes I personally believe can get you to this point? Number 1, if you have a great job. Yeah. Now, this great job, usually you should be like a CEO of a big company. This is how you're going to consider yourself as having a great job. So you're going to rise up through the ranks of a really big company. Or number 2, you're going to get a job in a fast-growing company. Okay? Fast-growing company. So you identify a company that's really developing and growing really quickly. Probably it's in an industry or a sphere in the world that's changing things. For example, AI. Right now, you get a job right there. Now, most likely, this is the easiest way or the only way you're going to get a lot of money through your job, because honestly speaking, jobs do have a cap. There is a cap on how much money you can make. Now, this route, though, does have its disadvantages. First of all, it's very competitive. For you to get to the very top of a particular career, most people on earth actually do rely on careers for their existence, for their ability to make money, for their ability to get to the top. They do rely on careers. So for you to make it to the top using this path, number 1, it's going to take a lot of time. Yeah, so it's going to be a very long route. It's going to take a lot of time, because you're going to have to go through the ladders and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you decide not to go through the ladders, it's going to be very stressing. Yeah, what that means is that it involves very long hours of work. You spend quite an amount of time working. You're going to work extra hours, stay at the office, go all this kind of stuff. Probably if you want to become the CEO of Apple, can you imagine how long it would take you, or how much effort or work it would take you for you to become the CEO of Apple? But number 3, it involves a lot of dirty work. Yeah, so it involves what I would say work politics, a lot of work politics. For you to make it to the top of a really huge, nice company, it involves a lot of politics. That's the honest truth. I mean, it's not something that you're going to run away from. Yeah, you're probably going to have to discredit some other people's works so that you make yourself look better. You're probably going to play some dirty games in the workplace in order to raise your ranks through. So it's a good route, one that can be implemented, but it takes a really, really long time, and well, you can choose to go that way. I won't discourage you from going that way. Now, the second route is using what we call talent. Very beautiful route. Why? Because I personally believe that it plays into people's ability. I mean, you don't have to, I would say, put in too much outside what you're already given. It requires a lot of hard work. I'm not saying that it doesn't require a lot of hard work. I mean, look at all the soccer players. So this is probably through sports. Yeah? So if you're talking about talent, this is probably through sport, through music, yeah, things like that. Yeah, you're going to have to identify yourself. Now, its biggest problem is that the competition is crazy. Can you imagine how many talented people are outside there? In fact, can you imagine how many soccer players are outside there? How many people go to school and they say they want to play football? Yeah, a lot of people believe that that's a path that can make them a lot of money, but very few people actually ever make it to the top. So it involves a lot of dedication, it involves a lot of commitment, yeah, because you already have the ability, it plays into your natural ability, but because the competition is so high, you're going to have to isolate your way in, I would say, a very unique way. Yeah, first of all, you need to be, I would say, supernatural, almost supernatural. You need to be way better than everyone else, but also you're going to have to spend a lot of time practicing, training, and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's not to say that the other things don't require stuff. For example, even being a CEO requires a lot of, practice, training. But I would say the competition is even much worse when it does come to talent, yeah? Because a big percentage of it is going to be natural given ability, but you're going to put in, all this effort in all these other things. Now, this is another route that can get you to, to this point. If you're a famous musician, for example, you certainly can afford to go and enjoy life, go to a beach anytime you want. Of course, as long as you're not working, enjoy the very beautiful life, have all the cameras on you, but it's not easy to make it to the top. Now, the third one that I personally do believe in, and you saw coming, is starting a business. Yeah, if you've been following me for a while, you do understand that this is something I very strongly support. This over here, starting a business, is your very best bet. Yeah, it's your best bet to you getting financially free and doing the kind of things that you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, at any time that you do want. Yeah, anyone, I mean anyone, can get themselves to that point. Now, of course, I understand that some people will say that not everyone is, for example, cut out to do business or start a business. And that might be true, but again, it's not fully true, yeah? It comes naturally and easier for some people, but that doesn't mean that other people can't do it, yeah? While it might not come naturally for me, for example, I might be able and willing to put in the effort, the dedication, and the hard work that makes me learn to ensure that I can learn and can start to do it, yeah? So business is the best and easiest and quickest way of doing it. Why? Because you're in control of it. I mean, you're in absolute control of it, and anyone can do it from anywhere. It doesn't matter which part of the world you're in. Whether in a first world country, a third world country, it doesn't matter, yeah? For example, I'm making it from a third world country. I'm in Uganda, and a lot of people would imagine, whoa, you're in a poor country, all this kind of stuff. You need to get out of there in order to give yourself a chance to succeed. And whilst it's true that, opportunities come easier for people in particular areas, that doesn't mean that you can't create opportunities for yourself if you're in an area which is not considered to be opportune. Yeah, you can create the opportunities just like I've managed to create the opportunities for myself. So business is your best route, and if you do decide to go the business way, number one, you place yourself in such a position that you can develop cash flow, great cash flow that will ensure that you can do whatever you want from wherever you want, whenever you want. I've personally gotten myself to that point, and this is something that I advise anyone to do. So again, I've made a lot of videos about starting a business, growing a business, and I leave a link to some of those videos in the description below. But if you want to be able to afford a life that's sustainable, where you're not struggling, where you can buy a car and you're enjoying it, where you can just wake up in the morning and you want to travel to a particular country and you go over there without thinking, most probably you're going to have to start a business, because this you can do in, I don't know, 1 month, 5 months, 1 year, 5 years. Unlike a lot of these other things, which might take you quite a while, well, talent doesn't really take you a while, yeah? If you're really extra talented, most probably by the time you're 16, everyone can see it. And you can stand out and everyone will see you. But most likely you're not going to fall in this group, yeah? So you're probably going to have to take this route, which, will probably get you to earning $1 million when you're like, what, 60 or so, yeah? Or you can take the business route where you can earn $1 million when you're 18 if you put in the hard work and the effort, yeah? So I personally believe that these 3 steps that we've gone through have the ability and the strength to take you from the suffering and struggling person to the kind of person who can make whatever you want from anywhere without struggling. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.